It once appeared on newsstands across the country, but here, the detail and drama reveal themselves more slowly. Displayed on the show is a Saturday Evening Post illustration that the guest purchased at a garage sale. In the lower right corner, we see the initials of the artist, Robert Riggs. Riggs was a Philadelphia-based illustrator and painter, trained at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts and influenced by the Ashkin School.
He stayed in Europe for a little while, went to the Académie Julienne, and then after a few years returned to Philadelphia, where he stayed on as an advertising illustrator. He was a very successful artist.
He's best known for illustrating gritty urban scenes, medical environments, boxing matches, and institutional life. This particular painting, titled The Fall Guy, was created as an illustration for the Saturday Evening Post. It accompanied a short story by W.C. Heinze, a fictional excerpt from Heinze's novel The Professional. Heinze was a celebrated American sports writer, war correspondent, journalist, and author. The illustration is marked by bold chiaroscuro deep shadows and sharp highlights that create a cinematic effect.
I mean, you look at this and everything is flying. You've got hats and newspapers and cigarettes and cups, and you've got the hot dog, the police officers and the chairs about to smash on someone's head. I mean, all of these elements are fantastic.
Executed in tempera on panel, it demonstrates expertly rendered anatomy, featuring a muscular boxer and emotionally expressive figures. Although the subject is fictional, often considered less valuable than nonfiction, works it remains highly desirable. At auction, this original Saturday Evening Post illustration by Robert Riggs would likely be worth
between $70,000 and $90,000.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow. I never dreamed of that.
I know.
Wow.
It looks like any other bat butt. The hands that once gripped it and the legacy they built are anything but ordinary. Exhibited on the show is a Louisville Slugger Ty Cobb bat, inherited by the guest from his father, an avid baseball collector.
Collector, and so a gentleman, I believe he was in his 80s at the time, brought this bat to my dad and said, "I would like you to have this bat. I see you have a true passion for it."
Nicknamed the Georgia Peach, Cobb was an American professional baseball center fielder. He played 24 seasons in Major League Baseball from 1905 to 1928, mainly for the Detroit Tigers. The showcased bat measures 36 inches in length and weighs 38 ounces, typical of bats made specifically for Ty Cobb. Additionally, it was Cobb's habit to tape his bats with 11 inches of tape spiraled around the handle, characteristic this bat clearly exhibits. Judging by the label, the bat was made between 1916 and 1933 by Hillerick and Bradsby Company. It is crafted from high-quality ash wood, prized for its strength and grain. Spike marks and stains on the bat add to its provenance and value. Given Ty Cobb's historical significance in baseball, this authentic bat would have an insurance value of,
you're looking at $75,000 to $100,000.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
We want to insure this bat for $125,000.
Unbelievable, thank you.
Today's guest brought an extraordinary guitar onto the Showa piece purchased by his father in 1962.
And he asked her, "How much do you want for it?" And she said, "Well, $300 for the amplifier. The guitar comes with a case and the guitar." And he thought that was a good enough bargain back in 1962.
This is no ordinary instrument. It's a 1959 Gibson ES 355 Mono, considered the crown jewel of Gibson's semi-hollow body electric guitars. Introduced as the flagship model of the ES, electric Spanish line, the ES 355 was essentially a more luxuriously appointed version of the ES 335. The 1959 Mono version is especially revered among collectors and musicians for its rarity and tonal excellence. It features a semi-hollow body design with a solid maple center block, which reduces feedback while preserving rich resonance. It's fitted with two original PAF, patent applied for, humbuckers, giving the 355 Mono its signature clarity and warmth, making it one of the most tonally pure vintage Gibsons ever made. One of the most distinctive visual features is its deep cherry red finish, which is gracefully aged into a rich, wine-like hue. Accompanying the guitar are its original case and original hang tag, which significantly enhance its provenance and value.
Accompanies it still. A lot of times those things disappeared, makes it more collectible because it has all the juju that came with it.
The company label visible inside the body further authenticates the guitar as an original 1959 Gibson. Given the authenticity, condition, and completeness of this instrument, it is estimated to fetch an auction price of
roughly around $45,000.
My father would be so incredibly pleased to find that out.
And that's if it has the double whites, which I'm assuming it probably does.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Its gaze is calm, its posture composed, but this figure once stood at the heart of something profoundly spiritual. On the show today is a gilt bronze figure that has been in the guest's husband's family for over 2 centuries.
It's been handed down through my husband's side of the family since the 1800s. A relative went over to China for 3 months to do shopping for antiques with the purpose to come back and open an antique shop. This piece, I don't know if it just never made it to the antique shop or they liked it so much they just always kept it on the fireplace mantle.
This piece is believed to represent the Jade Emperor, one of the most important deities in Chinese mythology. In Taoist cosmology, he is revered as the supreme ruler of heaven, all deities, and the mortal realm. The bronze dates to the Tianqi Chongzhen reigns, circa 1600 and 1644, during the final decades of the Ming dynasty. The figure is adorned in an elaborate robe incised with celestial cloud motifs and is shown seated in a devotional posture with hands resting at the chest. Its expression reflects divine stillness, and it sits atop a bracketed base. The gilding has naturally softened and worn over time, though this does not diminish its value. A small plug in the figure's shoulder indicates reinforcement during the casting process, common in bronzes of this period.
During the firing process, this split, not a big deal, common. They cut a plug, put a plug in, fortified the instability, and then it's been fine for 350 years, 400 years.
That's amazing.
Lifting the figure reveals a hollow interior that has developed a rich, aged patina. In an auction setting, an authentic Chinese gilt bronze Taoist figure like this would be valued at...
In a retail setting, it would demand a value of $20,000.
I brought it in a roller cooler today with snacks on top of it. Oh my goodness. Go ahead and keep talking, Robert, because I think I lost my ability of speech right now. I had no idea. None. That's amazing.
Long before racetracks were unboxed at home, these displays were already revving up excitement in toy aisles. Today's guest brought in a collection of store display cases that he inherited from his parents, who once owned variety stores.
So these were actually in your parents' store on display?
Yeah, in fact, if you look right here in the corner, there's the sticker, and this whole set was on sale for $14.95, never sold.
These are original marketing pieces from the early days of the Mattel Hot Wheels brand, which launched in 1968 with its Sweet 16 line of die-cast cars. They were used in toy stores to captivate young buyers and showcase the brand's fast, flashy, and rebellious spirit.
The whole Hot Wheels craze was based on Southern California car culture. Yep. Hot rods, cool pinstriping, metallic colors.
Fast.
Yes, Mattel saw this going on and they said, we have to capitalize on this because what little boy is not going to want to play with a bunch of awesome hot rods?
Exactly.
This collection includes 3 distinct Mattel Hot Wheels store display models from 1968, 1969, and 1970. The 1969 and 1970 displays feature exotic cars and bold, colorful themes, including the popular Daytona motif. Both of these Hot Wheels displays are highly collectible, and each is estimated to be worth
easily $5,000 to $10,000 each.
The highlight, however, is the debut 1968 model, which features two of the rarest and most desirable cars, a watermelon pink fastback Mustang and a chocolate brown 1968 Camaro. There is minor damage to the plastic window on the front of the 1968 display, which could slightly affect its value. Still, the presence of those two rare cars makes this piece especially sought after, and it would easily be worth
68 display is easily going to be 20 to 30,000 at auction.
Wow. Not bad for a 50-cent car.
We are presented with a collection of items that belong to the guest's great-great-uncle, Eugene Woodruff. Woodruff was an officer in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, known for his leadership in the ambitious 1,873 Red River Great Raft clearing operation in Louisiana, and for his heroic self-sacrifice. He served under Captain C.W. Howell, helping to oversee the removal of a massive 40-mile logjam that had long obstructed navigation on the Red River. The project employed innovative technologies, including steam-powered snag boats and even nitroglycerin to dislodge enormous logs.
He was the engineer in charge of the project, and he was finally able to successfully remove it. He used the latest technology in doing it, used new steam equipment that hadn't been available before, and nitroglycerin, which revolutionized the job of removing obstructions in rivers.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Included in this collection is a wax sealing ring, engraved with a backward number 66 on the front. Another notable item is a presentation flag, gifted to Woodruff on the 4th of July, 1873, by the people of Shreveport, in appreciation for his role in clearing the Great Raft from the Red River.
The flag has 37 stars, which fits in with the time frame that's written on the flag.
Also in the collection is Woodruff's kepi, featuring a wreath insignia on the front and Engineer Corps buttons on each side. A pair of hand-sewn gauntlets bearing Woodruff's name further adds to the personal significance of the archive. Lastly, the collection includes a signed class photograph of Woodruff taken from his West Point yearbook. Altogether, this archive provides a compelling glimpse into military education, 19th century engineering innovation, and leadership during a transformative era in American history. An appropriate insurance value for Eugene Woodruff's historic archive would be,
So for the items that we have here, we would put an insurance value of $15,000 on it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Well, okay.
today's guest brought a 1978 Pete Maravic worn movie uniform onto the show. Maravic is one of basketball's most electrifying figure-san offensive genius whose creativity, flair, and scoring ability reshaped both college and NBA play. In 1978, Pete Maravic was still active in the NBA, playing for the New Orleans Jazz. During that time, he made appearances in various promotional and entertainment projects, including a little-known film titled Dribble.
They got Pistol Pete to come in, and he was here for 3 or 4 days with the shooting of the game. We filmed that part of it in Cedar Rapids, so got to meet Pete, and it was a great experience.
However, the movie failed to gain popularity and quickly faded from public attention. Maravic's involvement in the film served as a way to promote a new women's basketball team at the time, the Iowa Cornets. The guest was able to acquire this uniform because he served as assistant coach for the Iowa Cornets during that period. The uniform reflects the classic 1970s basketball style, featuring short shorts and a tank-style jersey. Accompanying the uniform is a photograph of Pete Maravic wearing it in one of the Dribble movie scenes. Though worn off the court, this rare and authentic Maravic uniform holds strong collector interest due to his enduring cult status and would be estimated at a value of
$10,000 to $15,000.
So I didn't know, but oh, it's amazing. Thank you.
The guest presented a Chinese vase that was acquired by her mother at an auction in Nairobi during the 1980s.
Found this at an auction house in Nairobi, which is where they were living, and I don't know how much she paid for it. She called this a double gourd vase. She was quite sure it was Chinese. That's all I know.
At first glance, one of the most striking features of the vase is its ornate gilded bronze mounts. At the base, a cluster of reeds is bound together, resting on the vase's foliate feet, an elegant decorative touch. These mounts are known as ormolu, a term for high-carat gold-plated bronze that is cast and finely chased with extraordinary detail. Such craftsmanship suggests that the vase mounts are of classical Western origin rather than Chinese. The surface of the vase is finished in a blue glaze with magenta-colored circular patterns that resemble oil spots.
It gives it this almost textural feel, but there's no texture to it.
Right.
It's all beneath this smooth glaze.
On the underside, there is an applied material, possibly lacquer covering the base. The appraiser estimates that this piece dates to the period between 1860 and 1880. Remarkably well preserved after all these years, the vase's condition significantly enhances its value. In an auction setting, a piece like this would easily command a price of,
And my colleagues agree that if this came up for auction, we believe it would likely sell in the range of $8,000 to $12,000.
Fantastic. I thought it was worth something, but I thought it was maybe 1,000. So that fills in the blanks.
With glass eyes and a clever little secret, this rabbit offered more than just charm. It offered sweets, too. The item showcased on the show is a candy container in the form of a rabbit. The guest who brought it shared an interesting story of how it came into her family through her father.
Peter Rabbit started with my father when he was a little boy in northeast Iowa on a farm, but he had an uncle who lived in Chicago who didn't have any children, and this was his love. And so he would send him these darling gifts from toy store in Chicago. Peter Rabbit came to our house and our grandchildren, and they've all grown up with Peter Rabbit.
This charming piece was crafted from papier-mâché and originated in Germany, circa 1890. It was hand-painted and features long ears, glass eyes, and molded legs, all rendered with impressive attention to detail. Remarkably, the rabbit still wears its original outfit, made from wool felt. When the rabbit's head is lifted, it reveals the hidden candy compartment, where sweets would have originally been stored. On its back sits a basket filled with a papier-mâché egg and the original straw filler, adding to its authenticity. The appraiser also lifted the rabbit's shirt to reveal the original green dye, now faded with time. There is some visible wear and damage to the rabbit's nose and ears, which could slightly affect its value. Nonetheless, despite the condition, this German candy container rabbit remains a rare and desirable collectible and would fetch an auction price of,
and retail for this rabbit would be somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 in this condition.
Wow, that's a lot of candy. That's amazing.